Hey everybody, this is Rabbitearsblog, and welcome to my top comic books of the week. Now here are my top 4 comic books of this week. Comic book pick number 1, Superman's Secret Identity. Written by Kurt Busiek, artwork by Stuart Immonen, published by DC Comics, era 2000s. In this story, we're in an alternate universe of Superman, where a young boy named Clark Kent, who is named after the real Superman, is constantly being bullied at school because of his name. One day, however, young Clark Kent discovers that he has the same superpowers that the original Superman had, and he will soon learn the advantages and disadvantages of having such powers. Wow, this comic was just amazing. I will admit that at first I was a little hesitant about reading a Superman comic that took place in an alternate universe, since I haven't been reading Superman comics that long. But I ended up really enjoying this comic for its heartfelt story and glorious illustrations. Kurt Busiek's writing was truly emotional and beautiful as we explore Clark Kent's life from being bullied at school to eventually becoming the Superman of his world. I also love the way that Kurt Busiek wrote Clark and Lois' relationship, as it was realistic and heartwarming as they truly cared for each other during both good and bad times. Stuart Immonen's artwork is probably the best part of this comic, as they were truly beautiful to look at, and I was mesmerized by the various landscapes that show up in the story, such as Clark flying over the lake, and you can see the lake glitter as he flies over it. I also love the way that Stuart Immonen drew the facial expressions on each character, as they are realistic, and I actually felt emotions whenever the characters undergo a situation that would make them upset or mad. Comic book pick number 2, Why the Last Man, Book 2. Written by Brian K. Vaughan, artwork by Pierre Guerrilla, Goran Pavlov, and Paul Chadwick, published by Vertigo Comics, era 2000s. In this book, York Brown, along with Agent 355 and Dr. Allison Mann, are still on the quest to reach Dr. Mann's lab in San Francisco to find a cure for the disease that killed all the men in the world. It was then that the three allies meet up with a Russian woman named Natalia Zamyatin, who tries to tell them that there are still men up in space that are on their way to Earth. But at the same time, the four allies have to confront the Israeli troops who want to take Uruk in. The series just keeps getting better and better as Brian K. Vaughan's writing continues to be invigorating and intense at the same time. Brian K. Vaughan continues to develop this storyline as we are introduced to Natalia Zamyata, who's quickly becoming an interesting character to me, as the fact that she warns Uruk and Agent 355 about there being more men coming to Earth brought a new angle to the story. I also love the character development being done with these characters, especially now that we are seeing a darker side to them than we ever did in the first book. Pierre Guerrilla, Goran Pavlov, and Paul Chadwick all brought so much creativity to this book, as all the characters are drawn in an effective and realistic way, and you can see so many different emotions range from the characters' faces whenever they are in intense situations. Comic book pick number 3, Invincible Ultimate Collection Volume 2. Written by Robert Kirkman, artwork by Ryan Ottley and Bill Crabtree, published by Image Comics, era 2000s. After Mark's superhero father goes on a rampage in the first volume, Mark Grayson starts to look at his life much more differently now and is trying to take over the superheroic duties left by his father. Mark also has to deal with trying to graduate from high school and making it to college. Robert Kirkman's writing just continues to get better and better in this volume, as we are now seeing how Mark and his mother are coping with the tragic events after the first volume. It was truly tragic seeing Mark and his mother showing so much depression after the betrayal of Mark's father, since I was taken by surprise about how that event played out, since I would have never found out about Mark's father being a villain this whole time. I also enjoy the scenes where Mark is trying to balance his life as a superhero and making it in high school, because it shows that even though Mark is a superhero, he is also trying to live his life normally the best way he can. Ryan Ottley and Bill Crabtree's artwork is done extremely well in this volume, as the characters look realistic, and whenever the characters go through intense situations, or a situation that makes them happy, their facial expressions clearly shows those emotions. Comic book pick number 4, Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. Written by Frank Miller, artwork by John Romita Jr., published by Marvel Comics, era 1990s. This comic book is basically a retelling of the story about how Matt Murdock became Daredevil, and how his relationship with his famous boxer father, Jack Murdock, inspired him to become a superhero. Daredevil will also meet up with the mysterious Elektra, and save the life of a young girl from the evil clutches of Kingpin. Frank Miller's writing was fantastic in this retelling of Daredevil's origin tale, as the story still retains a dark and gritty feel, which reminds me strongly of his work on the Batman comics. I also love the way that Frank Miller wrote Matt Murdock's character, as Matt's goal in life is to protect the city from criminals by obeying the law, and that really made him into a truly inspirational character. John Romita Jr.'s artwork was truly brilliant in this comic, as the colorings were done so well, and I love the way that the shadowing on the characters' faces, especially the villains, made them look so threatening towards the readers during the story's intense situations. Well, that's my top comic books for this week, and I would highly recommend these titles to any comic book fan. Also, since these are just the short reviews, if you want me to do a longer review on these comics, then please feel free to suggest them in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do about it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbitearsblog, and I'll see you later.